So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had a wonderful speech for the Black community over Black History Month. Take a look.
To put an end to racism and discrimination. I have to admit, my friends, I'm a little bit emotional tonight. One of the things that comes with knowing that you're on a countdown clock to your last day means you get to be really ruthless about the things you want to do and the things that you don't want to do. And let me tell you, if I am here tonight with you all, it's because, man, oh man, that I want to see you guys to celebrate one last Black History Month as Prime Minister. It has been the honor and the pleasure of my life to work alongside you, to be there with you, to learn from you, to grow with you, and to count especially on incredible Black MPs and Black members of staff and team who have been incredible in being voices for this community from coast to coast to coast, lifting you up and making sure this government did better. My God, the privilege that I've had of serving these past 9.5 years, serving all Canadians, but particularly serving this community, is one that I will never, ever forget. It has been the joy of my life. It has been a deep privilege to call you all friends. And to recognize that there is still so much work for you all to do. And I'm going to be on a beach somewhere, right? No, I'll still be around, but there is work to do, to continue to raise each other up, to make sure Canadians see each other, truly see the extraordinary rich diversity of this country. When Black businesses succeed, our whole country succeeds. When Black organizations succeed, our communities become stronger. When we empower Black youth, our future becomes brighter for everyone. When Black Canadians succeed, Canada succeeds. Happy Black History Month. Bon mois de l'histoire des mois.
This has got to go down as the most disingenuous speeches in 2025 so far, and we're barely into the year, okay? He's talking about Black people being successful, and if Black people succeed, Canada succeeds, and if Black businesses succeed, Canada succeeds. He's talking about all the work that needs to be done to help eradicate anti-Black racism in Canada. Yet, he fights with Black people. He's fought with people that have worked under him, like Selena Chavan. Take a look. Back in 2015, she was appointed MP of Ajax, Ontario, which is on the east end of Ontario. And 2 months later, she was appointed parliamentary secretary for Prime Minister Trudeau. However, she really feels as though she was tokenized because she was not privy to a lot of things. She wasn't included in a lot of meetings. She was really only brought out when it had something to do with Black people, so that for optics, they can say, oh, look, we have a Black person here representing your people. But otherwise than that, she only talked to Trudeau maybe a handful of times. And by the way, she was in office and working with him from 2015 to 2019. So in 4 years, she says she only talked to him a handful of times. Token much? I think so.
August of 2016, I came to him and I said, at the time, the United Nations had declared the International Decade of People of African Descent between 2014 and 2024. We were 2 years in. I brought that to the Prime Minister. I said, look, we should probably recognize this. The UN has brought it forward. I think it would be a good idea. He said to me, Selena, what do you want to do? I said, that's not up to me to decide what I should do for all Canadians of African descent. That's unfair. We should, actually do this properly, understand some of the concerns, understand some of the issues that they're having, and then, actually recognize this international decade in a way that makes sense and the way that is actually genuine to our mission and mandate as a government. And so that meeting ended, and I didn't hear anything for a year. And then on January 31st of 2018, I was invited to the foyer of the House of Commons. And again, paraded in front. Selena, you have to be there on this day. And I'm saying, like, what's going on? And he comes out, and I hear that we're announcing the international recognition, Canada's recognition of the International Decade of People of African Descent. And my heart breaks, because I realized, then I start doing my homework, and I realized that over the last year, there have been dozens of meetings about this issue that I have been purposely not invited to. I'm not allowed to speak to media. I'm not allowed to speak in the House. I'm not being sent anywhere. What does that do to the mind of a person when they know that the only thing that they're there for is like, oh my God, look at this, I'm Black. And oh my God, look at these, I'm a woman. March of 2019, I just decided that I was not going to let the actions of one person dictate how I left government. And I was not going to let Justin Trudeau continue to be presenting himself as this sunny ways, great politician when I knew that he was the emperor with no clothes on. I didn't have to have a public blow up with the prime minister. When I told him that I was leaving in early March of 2019, I was very clear, for all of the reasons that we discussed before, feeling tokenized, not getting the support of the prime minister, just being very much marginalized within a liberal, which is it makes me so, it is so upsetting, because it's one thing to say, you did some missteps, but I felt duped by a party that I really thought understood what it meant to be center, understood what it meant to have equity and justice, what it meant to have those things. I said, Justin, perhaps if not today or tomorrow or at some point in the future, you'll understand the level of sacrifice that I've made to be in this role. And then he was not happy with that. He said, oh my God, Selena, I can't believe that you're talking about my privilege. I was like, what? He went on and how I needed to appreciate him because he came to the riding during the by-election, and how I should be, grateful to him. And I just was like, oh, hell no. And I said a few choice words to him after that, because I lost it at that point. He's able to get away with those kinds of things. And I wanted to make him darn sure that he was not going to get away with it with me. So I told him, absolutely not. You are never going to speak to me like that again. And, just like I'm sitting across from you now, said, let's be adults here. We said some things we didn't mean. Let's move it along. The level of contempt and almost hatred that he approached me with, I have never felt more scared in my life of someone, to be in a room with someone. There was no words. It was a glare. It was this reddening of the face. It was the exhalation of his voice. And I stood there, and I was alone in the room because it was after caucus. I didn't want anybody else to hear the conversation. So I waited in line, because after caucus meetings, everybody goes up and wants him to sign stuff and talk and blah, blah, blah. I waited till the end. There was nobody else in the room. And this exchange happened and I said, you know what, Justin, and I was stopped in my tracks with the glare, the huff. And then he got up out of his seat and he just stormed out of the room. And I froze because at that moment, I knew that this person actually could make or break the rest of my life. And I was petrified of what could happen next, how it could happen, what I didn't know what he would do. Right? You have a name like Trudeau and you decide to blacklist Selena from ever working in Canada again. That could happen like that. It's me versus him. And I realized I had no ground to stand on.
He's also had beef with the MP of Haldimand County, Leslyn Lewis. Take a look.
Prime Minister has put on blackface so many times. He has degraded black people. He literally put a banana in his pants, and you have the audacity to stand and look at me as a black woman and ask about my meeting with another member of the European Parliament. That is within my job description. I do not have to approve of everything that another member believes in order to have the decency to have meetings with other individuals. Your prime minister, this prime minister, denigrated black men by putting a banana in his pants. Shame on every member over there that does not chastise them. If this were any other country, he would not be leading, and he would not have the moral authority to lead.
Not to mention the fact that he has been seen in blackface more than once, although he only addresses and apologizes, I guess it's some sort of apology, for the time he was in blackface for what he calls a costume for Aladdin. Take a look.
In 2001, when I was a teacher out in Vancouver, I attended an end-of-year gala where the theme was Arabian Nights. And I dressed up in an Aladdin costume and put makeup on. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better, but I didn't. And I'm really sorry.
Even that apology to me was disingenuous. But again, that wasn't the first time. He has done it while he was a student in school more than once. Take a look at these images. Now, speaking about if Black people succeed and if Black businesses succeed, then Canada succeeds, then we might want to understand why his government continues to fight the Black class action lawsuit for over 50 years of anti-Black racism against Black federal workers. And his government has spent over $10 million fighting back, although the Canadian Human Rights Commission has admitted that there has been over 50 years of anti-Black racism, but yet they still refuse to settle this lawsuit, although they, like I said, they admit it. They admit it. Not even an apology. Okay? Now let's talk about the fact that we, as Black people, for over 200 years of slavery, are still waiting for an apology and still waiting for reparations for all of the families of all of the people that went through slavery in Canada. Nothing. Yet you want to stand up there and talk about Black people being your friends and Black people being, you're so proud of Black people and you're rocking for Black people. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he was trying to say in his speech, that he's here for Black people. Yet the actions are not matching the words. So every year he comes out, goes in the community, and then gives this wonderful speech that was probably written for him, talking about how much he appreciates Black people and he's here for Black people and he loves the community and he wants to do everything he can for the community. And there's lots of work to be done for the community. Yet you still will not take responsibility for the work that was done against the community, going all the way back over 200 years. And people are there cheering for him. I'm so confused. What are you cheering for? Especially if there's some Black people there. I really want to know what you're cheering for. Because this man has not done anything for the Black community. His administration has not done anything for the Black community. Not a thing. And it's not to say that anybody else who steps in his position will do better, because frankly, like I said, over 200 years of slavery, still no apology, still no reparations. He's not the only prime minister that's governed Canada. So I'm not suggesting that I'm expecting anybody else to do it, but nobody else is parading around with this fake, disingenuous speech like he is. So that's why I'm calling him out. So in closing, I'm just going to say this. He mentions that he'll be on a beach somewhere, and he said it in jest, kind of joking, and said, no, I'll be around. Go to the beach. Because honestly, you've not done anything for Black people. So you go to the beach and stay at the beach and enjoy your life. We'll be here continuing to fight, and hopefully, whoever the next person is that steps in as the Prime Minister of Canada will have more interest in the Black community and actually doing something instead of just saying something, or trying to do this optics thing where you have Black people working under your administration, yet they're just tokenized and not treated respectfully and not protected when they go through anti-Black racism under this administration. So let's just hope for better. So to any other that are in the, running, please do better by the Black community. Let me know what you all think about this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this content. And until next time, I shall see you again. Please be safe.